Nintendo is a company that we've all grown up with. The cheery games that Nintendo has produced over the years has casted a shining light upon so many of our lives, from childhood to adulthood. Nintendo has easily cemented itself as one of the most friendly and innocent companies of all time, with games like Animal Crossing, Mario, and Splatoon projecting a truly happy and youthful vibe. There is truly no doubt that Nintendo is a very unproblematic company. But the brighter side of Nintendo is just the surface. Underneath, a much darker side looms. Much darker than you could ever imagine. From stalking console modders to actually showing up to content creators' houses without informing them beforehand, Nintendo's history is scarily eerie, and today's video aims to discuss these darker aspects of the company. Nintendo ninjas have become sort of the boogeyman story you tell your kids at night to make them stay in bed. A sort of urban legend that's been told around the Nintendo fan campfire to warn gamers against diving too far into the modding scene. No one ever truly took those stories too seriously though. That was until the late great Etika dropped a video in early 2018 going over some very disturbing claims. Etika had referenced Nintendo Ninjas in the past, claiming that Nintendo Ninjas were targeting the Free Shop, a homebrew software for the 3DS, and tweeted claims of meeting a Nintendo Ninja at one point. But he had never made substantially bold claims up until the creation of this video, a video titled "Nintendo Ninjas Came for My Friend." In this video, Etika goes over an exchange he had with a fellow content creator.
I received a phone call one day from an established friend in the Nintendo YouTube community who said he had information to tell me in person that would be sensitive.
In which the content creator recalls an encounter with actual real-life Nintendo ninjas. The alleged encounter goes as follows. One day, upon arriving home, the creator's mother claimed that two anonymous individuals had paid a visit to their homestead with the intent to speak to the creator. Shortly after hearing this information, the doorbell rang out. And upon answering the door, the same two individuals identified themselves as agents for the company Nintendo. The creator allowed the agents to enter the house as they had intentions to converse with the creator. Allegedly, once inside, the two agents began interrogating the creator in regards to a substantial Nintendo leak that the creator had significant involvement in. This interrogation apparently went on for nearly an hour before the agents decided to make their leave, leaving the creator with business cards to keep in touch. Allegedly, Etika had been shown these business cards as evidence. Etika closed off the video by also making claims of a near run-in of his own with Nintendo Ninjas, reportedly due to a small troll Etika had made previously involving a replica Nintendo Switch being shown on stream before the Switch was ever actually released.
I don't give a Joy-Con boys on Christine, I'm gonna get fucking sued. Oh god, Joy-Con boys. Oh my god. I don't give a oh shit.
The legitimacy of these claims were naturally debated amongst the community, with some people genuinely believing the claims Etika made, and others casting them aside as the ramblings of a creator attempting to make unique and engaging content. But these claims would turn out to be a lot more credible in due time. Throughout 2020, a wave of Nintendo files were leaked all over the internet. A leak so massive that the occurrence would be granted the widely agreed upon nickname of the 2020 Nintendo Giga leak. Somewhere in these leaks, shocking documents would get out that Nintendo would come to dread. These documents would quickly become some of the most crucial pieces of supporting evidence for Etika's wild claims of Nintendo's covert espionage. Documents that would single-handedly make all of the Etika doubters turn into believers. It was the 9th set of data leaks that really had the community in an uproar. While most of the other leaks were simply just prototypes of different games, this 9th set of leaks revealed that Nintendo had been making a very aggressive attempt at getting an intimate peek into the deeper parts of the console modding community. The most notable portion of documents from this 9th set of leaks revealed Nintendo had been surveilling a very prominent and talented modder who went by the alias Naymod. Naymod was well known for their efforts in 3DS homebrew development, contributing a huge amount of labor to the overall progress of the project. These leaked documents detailed that Nintendo had developed a team focused on finding and surveilling targets that were significant in the modding community. One of these documents in particular describes Neymod's previous education, achievements, daily activities, and lifestyle in great detail, information of which they had gained via long-term stalking of Neymod at his work and home, going so far as to detail his work schedule, typical evening and weekend schedule, and more. At this point, Neymod couldn't take a shit without Nintendo knowing the exact diameter and length of the shit in which Neymod had squeezed out. Hell, they probably knew what technique he used, whether it be the jiggle and release or the classic pinch it off. Nintendo knew, and they were sure as hell going to document it and report back to HQ. It doesn't stop there though. In further revisions of the document, Nintendo would detail a plan called the Belgian Waffle Knock and Talk. These revisions would discuss a plan in which a team would actually approach Neymod, and this part sounds familiar, so that they could interrogate him and propose an agreement in which ultimately, of course, Neymod would quit modding for good. They even made a flowchart, going over the plan in great detail, from approaching Neymod to proposing a settlement and hoping that Neymod would agree to this settlement, including a contingency plan in case Neymod refused to agree to that settlement. The common belief is that Neymod did in fact agree to this settlement, as around the documented time of approach, Neymod had slowly withdrawn from the modding community and hasn't made himself present to the public since. It doesn't stop here though, as further documents included propositions to locate their next targets and do the same thing they had done to Neymod. Suggested targets such as Yellow 8, Marcan, and Geohot, with plans to develop profiles for each target. One of Neymod's associates, Smee, was also mentioned, but Smee didn't disappear like Neymod did. Smee actually made taunting tweets about the whole situation. Some people would argue that Nintendo wasn't really doing anything too bad in these situations, recalling the alleged job offers that Nintendo would propose to most of the talented targets, making the targets of which complied sign and file an NDA. This NDA that was filed by each compliant target is actually the whole reason that Nintendo Ninja stayed in the shadows for so long. But on the other hand, if these job offers were turned down and the target didn't comply, Nintendo would allegedly threaten to file a criminal complaint against said target, which to me feels more like aggressive onboarding rather being merciful. But you could reasonably look at it both ways. Personally, I am a fan of the black hat hacker turned white hat by the very company they were targeting. But the stalking that Nintendo would engage in, showing up to people's houses unprovoked, detailing many personal aspects of their lives, all of these shady practices makes it hard for me to feel okay with the whole situation. What do you think? There's a lot of information to digest and a lot of variables to the entire Nintendo Ninja practice. I am personally a little on the fence about the whole thing, and I'd love to know your opinion on it, as this whole situation can be a bit divisive. One thing I am sure of though, is that the Nintendo Ninjas are real, and you never know if you are their next target. Who knows? Maybe they're watching you right now. Maybe I am a victim of the Nintendo Ninjas myself.